All right, draft recap, Pittsburgh Steelers edition. Pittsburgh Steelers, very fascinating draft. A couple picks I love here in this draft, actually, and some picks I think maybe am not the biggest fan on, but as a whole, I thought they had a pretty good draft. So let's start it off with Broderick Jones, a guy who a lot of people are going to, again, tackles tend to get overdrafted. There's several things I like about this, and maybe some things I'm not as crazy about with Broderick Jones. So first off, they really wanted a tackle. That's kind of just something that they were making sure they went out and got. Get a good tackle, and they were willing to trade up, and they jumped the Jets, who I'm just convinced would have taken him at 15, given the way that they kind of panicked, it seemed like, right after Jones was selected. So good kind of move to make sure you get your guy. So here's the thing about Jones. I pay a lot of attention to analytics when it comes to this stuff. How good, how consistently do you win? Things like that. It translates very well. Guys who are good at those specific things tend to be very good at the NFL level. That's just, how it works out. If you're good in college at that stuff, you're good in the NFL at that stuff. He wasn't bad in college, but he wasn't great at that stuff in the college level. So is that a concern for a guy you're picking 14? Yes. But the one thing I would say is there's legitimate reasons to say that he should have been a raw player. I think that the fact that he needs to get his hands completely under control. He doesn't have that just yet. He is very young. That's kind of the one thing why I'm not so concerned about it, and didn't have a ton of playing time. So the lack of reps and the youth to hit, is why I'm going to be less concerned about that than I would with other players. I had a first-round grade on him, and for tackles, again, maybe I would have been closer to 18 than 14. You see where who's ranked 18th on the consensus big board. That's the number all the way to the right side of your screen. 14 is where he was selected, and okay, fine. They wanted to get a tackle though. They wanted to protect Kenny Pickett, and one of the few examples I'm okay with reaching is if you're trying to get a quarterback, or if you're trying to help, make it life easier on your young quarterback. That's what they're doing with Jones. So, I think if a different team selected him 14th, I might not like it so much, but Steelers want to tackle. I'm a fan of this pick, personally. Then they got Joey Porter Jr., who, another guy, a lot of people love Joey Porter Jr. You see, he was 14th on the consensus big board. He fell to 32nd. That's around where I had him on my big board. I didn't have him as a first-round pick either. He ends up being, in an average draft, 32nd gets you a first-round pick. Since it was not an average draft, there was only 31 first-round picks this year. 32nd ends up being a second-rounder. Okay, unfortunate for poor Joey Porter Jr., but still, I think that part of his issue is and I'm assuming NFL teams saw this on tape as well. There's just some concerns I have with how he leaves himself, he makes some mental mistakes, I would say. Feels like he needs to be in the right coaching staff to really reach his full potential, and if he is, he could be really good. One of those guys where if he's in the perfect situation and teams know how to use him, could be great, but is he going to be in a perfect situation? Will the Steelers, know how to use him? Well, I think, they're a pretty well-coached team. I think they'll probably be good. I think this is, maybe not the number one ideal situation, but pretty close. A pretty good situation for him. So definitely another pick I'm a big fan of just because of when they got him. If there's people that think he should be a fringe top 10 player and you're getting him in the second round, yeah, that's good value. Keanu Benton was the next player that they drafted at defensive tackle. Someone who has, again, if we're talking about the analytics, has very good analytics at the pass rush position for an interior defensive lineman. Could be a good pass rusher from the inside, which is, there's definite value in that. Run defense analytics, though, definitely not what you want to be. He's just only 21, though, so definitely has room to improve out of Wisconsin, so did get to play in some quality competition as well, so those analytics I do pay attention, I don't just throw those out and say, yeah, who knows, it's just college. No, if you're good at that stuff at the NFL, at the college level, against good competition, you're going to be good at it at the NFL level. Hopefully his run defense stuff can improve. Again, this one, a tad of a reach, was projected to go 60th to get him at 49th, but again, I do wonder if this is just something where they wanted to improve the inside. The Steelers do very much value the defensive line. That's something that they pay a lot of attention to. And if you have stars on a defensive line, it actually does kind of make sense to make sure you get more players who can be good role players to complement those stars. If Cameron Hayward is getting double teamed every play, well, hey, On a third down, maybe now you can throw in Keanu Benton, who can win his one-on-one matchup. I like it. Darnell Washington, who went at 93, but was projected to go at 36. He was supposed to be a fringe first-round talent, fell all the way to 93. I was surprised to see him fall this far. I wasn't surprised to see him fall a little bit. I mean, I didn't think he would, but once he did, I kind of understood it because, okay, there's some issues on his tape for sure. Definitely a bit of a raw prospect, but the physical tools are so good. Getting him at 93 feels awesome, especially when you have Pat Freiermuth, so you don't need him to be a complete tight end. Just let him do what he can do well, because you have a complete tight end in Freiermuth. So, fantastic pick. I would have picked him around 36, where the consensus had him. So him going at 93 feels like a big steal to me. And another couple of steals here afterwards. Nick Herbig, supposed to go 94th, ends up going 132nd. Another guy with very good pass rush analytics, and that's exciting to see. Guy who just, can win on the outside. Is he a complete edge rusher? I don't know. He didn't go in, early on in the draft for those very reasons. Didn't go day 1 or 2 because he might not have the run defense stuff that you would want. Also a bit smaller, 240, and runs a 4.6, so maybe people are a bit turned off about that, but I'm not. If you can win, you can win, and I think that that's exciting here. So could be a good rotational edge rusher, another guy out of Wisconsin. So getting some Badgers on the team. We then have Corey Trice. Corey Trice, a corner who was supposed to be a fringe top 100 player, picked 106 on the consensus big board, fell all the way to 241. I mean, those guys, you tend to draft some special teamers at this spot, or just depth guys is typically what you do. So for Corey Trice, the fact that he fell this far is a surprise. Runs a 4.47 and is 6'3", so, that's nice for a cornerback. Played in Purdue, so is a bit battle-tested, has solid run defense and coverage, statistics, although nothing incredible. Little surprised that he fell so far. Not that I think he's a star or anything, but, should be a fine depth player if nothing else. Surprised he fell all the way to the 7th round. Spencer Addison, the final selection, should just be a depth offensive lineman. Has a couple of years of experience. Again, if you like the analytics, pretty good pass blocking analytics. Nothing special in the run blocking. Actually, actively bad in the run blocking, but he's a 7th rounder. There's only a handful of guys picked after him in this draft class, so he was, barely got drafted in the first place. You're not going to get a star there, but, maybe someone who could come in and add some depth. So, yeah, as a whole, big fan of this draft class. Even though they went after a couple guys who weren't my guys, I think they got them at the right times, and it was the right situation with Jones and Porter Jr. And then they really hit on some later picks like Darnell Washington, Herbig, and Trice. Those are 3 really good later selections. So as a whole, I think this was a great draft by the Steelers. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.